Roundtable. ABC's Martha Raddatz and Matthew Dowd join us now. Late night for everybody out here and people watching at home. I was listening to you guys, and I agree with your analogy, Matt, what you were saying after watching the debate. It was like watching a fight. It went the distance. There was not a knockout punch, but just tell us the highs and lows.
Well, he scored in the first few rounds when he was on the economy, and he actually had a good message going about her. She's represented 30 years, nothing has changed. But as the debate went on, she won round after round after round, and she ends up winning on points in this. I don't think she changed the perceptions of herself, but she raised doubts among undecided voters with him. I think in the end what this debate will do, it won't move a lot. It'll move it by a safety.
Well, you bring up the undecided voters because we wake up this morning and her campaign is saying she won, his campaign is saying he won. It's those undecided voters. Do you think it moved the needle at all?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it moved it a few points. But keep in mind, this is the first game of a 3-game series, and Martha is about to do the second game. Martha,
want to trade places at all? Anybody?
No, bring Kleenex.
Yeah.
Bring Kleenex.
Okay. Maybe for me. Yeah.
Well, they did say they might be seeking guarantees from the moderators next time. But let's focus on some of the other substance from last night. A lot of foreign policy discussed last night as well. Of course, you traveled with Secretary Clinton covering the State Department. Real focus on Iraq, both, as we talked about before, Donald Trump, whether or not he really did oppose the invasion. And he made some points about who was responsible for pulling the troops out of Iraq.
Yeah. And she immediately said George Bush was responsible for pulling the troops out and not leaving 10,000 behind. In fact, George Bush did have a plan to pull those troops out, but I think everyone in his administration at that point wanted them to actually stay, wanted to leave some sort of presence. And they did not negotiate the so-called SOFA, the Status of Forces Agreement, to protect the troops. So Hillary Clinton said we couldn't stay. But they didn't negotiate very hard. That's the criticism. They'll say they didn't negotiate very hard to keep those troops there.
He repeated his position that what we should have done, what the United States should have done, is take the Iraqi oil.
Yeah, and I don't know how you take another country's oil. You just can't do it. You just can't go in there and take the oil from a sovereign country. And even if you wanted to, how do you do that? Do you put U.S. troops around and protecting those oil fields? That was another moment.
Also on foreign policy, he said the most important issue was nuclear armament, but there was some confusion there as well. At one point, he seemed to say he wouldn't use nuclear weapons first, and no first-use policy, which President Obama hasn't done. But then he said we have to leave everything on the table.
Yeah, I think all of us at the table last night were saying, he said what? And they said, oh no, wait. And we had no idea what he was talking about in the end, whether he wanted no first use or whether he didn't want any first use. Maybe that next debate, we'll see.
Might come up. Might be a question from Martha Raddatz next time around. Keep your questions secret.
I'll keep them secret. Yes, absolutely.
But you know what I was saying is this, Martha, you came to my dressing room this morning, and we keep talking about it being a fight. And the latter part of it, it was like two heavyweight fighters who knew they didn't deliver the knockout punch yet, and they were just starting to really go after each other. Did it help or hurt anybody?
I love that analogy of yours. Yeah, I love that.
I think he had the most thing to gain in this, and he didn't do it. I mean, as I say, she's going to get a safety on this because of his preparation. He got sacked in the end zone, and he lost those 2 points. And I think that's the difference. In a race that's a 3 or 4 point race, that little margin is a big deal.
Also, which candidate coming out of the debate has more moments they can go back to and exploit in the debate?
And this will be the biggest one. This will be the biggest debate.
Okay. Thank you guys both very much.